Something big is coming to Texas, and it's about to change everything we thought we knew about the Yellowstone universe. The long-awaited Yellowstone 6666 trailer has finally given us a first real look at this new chapter. And let me tell you, it's darker, grittier, and more intense than anything we've seen so far. The trailer opens with a wide, dusty shot of the 4-6's ranch, and immediately you can feel the difference. This isn't the glossy Montana landscape we're used to. This is raw, sun-scorched Texas. You hear the echo of boots on dry dirt, horses in the distance, and that familiar, tense Yellowstone-style music building up in the background. The narration doesn't give away much, but one thing stands out. At the 6666, every sunrise is earned. That one line alone sets the tone. This isn't a story about comfort or privilege. It's about survival, hard work, and legacy. You can tell that Taylor Sheridan is taking us back to the roots of cowboy life, stripping away the politics and luxury to show what real ranching actually looks like. From what the trailer reveals, Jimmy is front and center once again, and he's clearly grown into his role as one of the key men on the ranch. He's no longer the awkward rookie we met back in Yellowstone. His presence now carries weight. You can see it in the way others look at him, the way he walks, and the authority in his voice when he says, "We don't get second chances out here." That's the kind of grit we've been waiting to see from him. The camera lingers on his face for a second longer than usual, as if to remind us how far he's come and how much he's about to face. And then there's the mystery. The trailer hints that something big is happening behind the scenes at the 6666. Something darker. There's a quick cut to a group of riders under the blazing sun, then to a branding fire crackling in slow motion, and finally, a close-up of someone holding a burned, weathered ranch tag with the numbers 6666 barely visible. It's the kind of symbolic moment that screams there's more going on here than just ranch life. The narration whispers something like, "The brand isn't just earned, it's survived." And you can almost feel the history pressing down on everyone there. But what really sends chills is the sense that this place changes people. Every frame shows how brutal the life here can be. The dust storms, the endless labor, and that silence that only the desert can create. Yet, beneath that toughness, there's a sense of pride. You can tell that the ranch doesn't just build cowboys, it tests them. And maybe, just maybe, not everyone will make it through. We also get a glimpse of new faces. A few ranch hands we haven't seen before, their expressions hard and unreadable. One of them seems to have a personal connection to the land, maybe even to the Dutton family itself. But, as with any good Sheridan story, nothing is clear yet. What's clear, though, is that Yellowstone 6666 is shaping up to be the rawest, most realistic portrayal of cowboy life we've ever seen on screen. Even the tone of the trailer feels different. Gone are the political power plays of Montana. Instead, we're watching a story that feels ancient and pure, like the land itself. There's a weight in every shot, every glance, every pause. And the best part? It feels like all of this is leading to something massive, a story that might finally connect the dots between the Dutton Empire and the origins of the 6666 legacy. Because if the trailer is anything to go by, this ranch isn't just another setting, it's where the entire Yellowstone mythology comes full circle. The trailer's closing moments give us that classic Sheridan cliffhanger. We see Jimmy looking across the horizon, the wind blowing through the open fields, as he says softly, "This land remembers." And right after that, the screen cuts to black, leaving us with more questions than answers. Who's coming to the ranch? What secrets lie buried under that Texas soil? And how far will Jimmy go to protect what he now calls home? Whatever it is, one thing's certain. Yellowstone 6666 isn't just another spin-off. It's the beating heart of the entire Yellowstone universe. The trailer doesn't waste a single second reminding us that this isn't just Jimmy's story. It's the continuation of everything the Yellowstone universe has been building toward. The moment we see Rip's truck pulling into the dusty driveway of the 4-6's, it feels like a thunderstorm is rolling in. He steps out, squints under the Texas sun, and for a split second, that silence says more than words ever could. Fans immediately noticed the familiar Yellowstone theme faintly playing in the background during this shot, hinting that this crossover moment is bigger than anyone expected. Rip isn't just there for a visit, he's there for a reason. The rumor that Beth and Rip appear in the premiere seems to be true after all, and the trailer all but confirms it. Their presence instantly raises the stakes, and you can tell something serious is happening that requires their attention. There's a scene in the trailer where Beth is seen standing by the ranch gate, watching the riders move across the field. She looks out of place but powerful, dressed in black, her expression unreadable. You can almost hear her saying something sharp and unforgettable, as she always does. It feels like she's there to make sure the Yellowstone family's presence is felt, even in Texas. What's fascinating is that this is the first time we're seeing Beth away from Montana's cold landscape, standing under that burning Texas sun. And just that visual alone feels symbolic, almost like a changing of the guard. The Duttons passing the torch to the new generation of ranchers. Meanwhile, Jimmy's story in the trailer seems to take a deeper, more emotional turn. There's a quick flash of him holding an old letter, the paper crumpled and stained, and his voiceover says, "He told me the brand would change me." He didn't lie. That line hits hard. It tells us that the emotional core of 6666 isn't just about ranching, it's about transformation, sacrifice, and the idea that loyalty comes at a price. It's almost as if the ranch itself demands something from everyone who steps foot on it, and Jimmy knows that better than anyone. The trailer shows him watching a group of new hands working, his expression somewhere between pride and fear, as if he knows what kind of trials they're about to face. One of the most exciting things teased in the trailer is the introduction of Travis, Taylor Sheridan's own character. He rides in with his signature calm confidence, his hat tilted just enough to cast a shadow over his eyes. When he speaks, it's one of those lines that's bound to stick in fans' heads. At the Sixes, you don't earn respect. You survive it. That alone sets the mood for the kind of leadership and hierarchy we'll see in the series. Travis seems to act as both mentor and gatekeeper, the man who decides who's tough enough to wear the 6666 brand and who's not. There's even a subtle tension between him and Jimmy, not exactly rivalry, but the kind of respect that comes with unspoken competition. You can tell they'll have a bond built on mutual grit and shared pain, the kind that defines great Western stories. And then there's Teter. Yes, the fan-favorite cowgirl makes her long-awaited return, and her brief appearance in the trailer might be one of the most emotional moments. She's seen standing alone in the barn, her hands resting on a saddle, her eyes distant. The light hits her face just right, showing a mix of sorrow and strength. You can feel that she's still carrying the weight of loss from Yellowstone, but also that she's trying to rebuild herself here at the 4 Sixes. There's a soft whisper of Beth's voice echoing in the background saying, "You keep going, girl." That's what we do. Which feels like a flashback moment meant to push Teter toward healing. Fans of Yellowstone know that Teter isn't someone who breaks easily. She fights through it all, and now she's finally getting her own story, her own stage. The trailer also gives us a few blink-and-you'll-miss-it shots of Walker and Laramie arriving at the ranch, which instantly adds a layer of excitement. Walker, with his guitar slung over his back, looks ready to bring a bit of that classic Yellowstone soul to Texas. But there's tension here, too. Travis doesn't look too thrilled about having musicians on his land. In one shot, you can see the two men exchanging a glance that says more than any dialogue could. It's clear that not everyone fits easily into life at the 6666, and that's exactly what makes it so captivating. Every character seems to be fighting for their place, their right to belong. But what's most chilling about this trailer isn't the action or even the crossovers. It's the tone. There's a dark undercurrent running through every scene. The colors are more muted, the music heavier, and there's this constant feeling that something bad is coming. One shot shows a storm rolling in across the plains, lightning flashing behind the ranch house, and you can almost feel the tension building in your chest. It's not just weather, it's a warning. Something is brewing, and it's going to test everyone on that land. By the end of the trailer, there's a single shot that changes everything. The camera pans across a wooden fence where a new, fresh brand burns. Not just the 6666 mark, but something slightly altered, almost like a new variation. It's subtle, but intentional. And it raises a terrifying question. Has someone else taken control of the ranch, or is the 6666 evolving into something even bigger than we imagined? Whatever it means, Taylor Sheridan clearly wants us to pay attention, because this isn't just about legacy anymore. This is about survival in its purest form. Every glance, every line, every silence in this trailer feels like a promise that this story is going to dig deep into what it means to live and die by the land. And if the trailer is anything to go by, Yellowstone 6666 is ready to push the boundaries of what the Yellowstone universe can be. It's going to be harsh, beautiful, and absolutely unforgettable. If there's one thing Taylor Sheridan loves more than powerful cowboys and vast landscapes, it's mystery. And the Yellowstone 6666 trailer is loaded with it. There are so many tiny moments, barely a second long, that make you stop and think, wait, what did I just see? And it's those flashes that give us our biggest clues about what's really going on beneath the surface of this new story. One of the most haunting shots in the trailer shows a group of ranch hands digging near an old fence line under the blazing Texas sun. The camera lingers on their faces. They look uneasy, like whatever they're doing isn't part of a normal day's work. The dust swirls in slow motion as one of them lifts something heavy from the dirt. We can't tell what it is, but the sound design gives it away. That metallic clang, the kind you hear when something old and forgotten is unearthed. Then the screen cuts to black. No explanation, no dialogue, just that sound echoing. It's classic Sheridan, hinting at a secret buried deep in the history of the ranch, something tied to the land itself. And judging by the expressions in that scene, whatever they found isn't good news. What's even more intriguing is how the trailer keeps returning to the idea of legacy. We see a few flashes of old black and white photos pinned to a wooden wall inside the ranch office. Some of them show men branding cattle, others standing proudly beside a younger version of the ranch's founder. But there's one photograph that stands out. A man in a dark suit, holding a hat low over his face, standing beside the 6666 sign. It's there for barely half a second, but fans have already started guessing that he could be a Dutton ancestor, or maybe the original owner of the ranch who had ties to the Yellowstone land. If that's true, it would mean this isn't just a spin-off, it's the missing link connecting the entire saga together. And then there's that single, quiet voiceover near the middle of the trailer that makes your spine tingle. A man says, "You can change your name, but the brand still knows you." The first time you hear it, it just sounds poetic. But the more you think about it, the more unsettling it becomes. What does that mean? Is it about the literal brand of the 6666, or is it something deeper? Maybe the brand people carry in their hearts, the scars left by the past? That's where Sheridan's writing really shines. He never just tells you a story. He makes you feel the weight of it. You can tell that in 6666, the brand isn't just about marking cattle. It's a symbol of belonging, of identity, and sometimes of pain. Jimmy's part in all this seems to be much bigger than we imagined. In one intense shot, we see him arguing with Travis inside the stables, his voice raised for the first time, saying something like, "I've earned my place here." That moment says everything about how far he's come, but it also hints that the ranch's new order might not be as stable as it looks. There's conflict brewing, not just between characters, but between generations, ideals, and even ways of life. The old cowboys versus the new blood. The people who were born into the brand versus those who had to fight for it. It's that classic Western tension that keeps the story grounded and emotional at the same time. The trailer also drops a few clues about what the first episode might revolve around. There's a line from Travis that feels like it could be from the very beginning of the series. He says, "Every man out here owes the land a debt. The question is how you'll pay it." That's not just a cool line, it's a warning. It suggests that everyone who steps onto the 6666 has a price to pay, whether it's through hard work, sacrifice, or loss. And if you look closely at the trailer's editing, every major character shot is paired with that same sound effect, a faint, distant thunder rumbling. It's like the land itself is alive, watching, waiting, and judging. There's another chilling sequence where we see Teter walking alone through the field at night, the moonlight reflecting off her silver buckle. She stops, hears something behind her, and turns. But the trailer cuts right there. Fans online have already started speculating that this could be tied to the mysterious new threat hinted throughout the footage. Maybe it's someone trying to sabotage the ranch. Or maybe it's something far more personal. An old enemy from Montana following them south. The way Sheridan loves to weave old conflicts into new settings makes it likely that someone from the Duttons' past will resurface in Texas, bringing a storm with them. And speaking of storms, there's a repeated image that plays like a heartbeat throughout the trailer: the windmill. It appears at least 3 times, always during key transitions. The first time, it's standing still under the sunset. The second time, it's spinning wildly as a dust storm approaches. And in the final moments, it's broken, one blade dangling. That can't be a coincidence. The windmill feels like a metaphor for the ranch itself. Once strong and steady, now weathered and on the edge of breaking. It's the perfect symbol for a story about survival, change, and the relentless push of time. But perhaps the most emotional moment in the trailer comes right before it ends. Jimmy is sitting by a campfire, the light flickering across his face, and he quietly says, "He told me this place would make a man out of me." He didn't say what it would cost. That one line hits like a punch. You can hear the exhaustion, the pride, and the sorrow all tangled together. It's the voice of someone who's finally found his purpose, but at a price he might not be ready to pay. That's the kind of emotional storytelling that made Yellowstone great, and it looks like 66666 is doubling down on it. By the time the trailer fades to the logo, those 4 burning 6s glowing like embers, you realize this isn't just another Western. It's a story about endurance, about people trying to hold on to who they are in a world that keeps changing around them. And in true Sheridan fashion, it's also a warning that some legacies aren't built by choice, but by the battles we survive. The trailer leaves us with one final question that lingers long after the screen goes black. What happens when the land you love starts fighting back? The closer you look at the Yellowstone 6666 trailer, the more you realize that this show isn't standing alone. It's the bridge holding the entire Yellowstone universe together. Taylor Sheridan clearly knows what he's doing. Every shot, every glance, every offhand line in this trailer feels like a thread connecting back to something we've seen before in Yellowstone, 1883, or even 1923. It's all starting to make sense now, and it feels like 6666 is the key that ties it all into one living, breathing world. The trailer gives us a few clues that the Dutton legacy is far from over, even if the story is moving south to Texas. There's a quick, almost hidden shot of an envelope stamped with the Yellowstone Y brand logo. It's resting on a dusty desk inside the 6666 office, as if someone from Montana sent it recently. That detail alone is enough to make fans pause the trailer and zoom in. Why would a letter from the Duttons end up here? Could it be that John Dutton himself, or what's left of his empire, has some unfinished business at the 46s? Maybe he's selling part of his land, or maybe he's reaching out for help. Either way, the trailer is teasing something massive, the first official connection between the Yellowstone Ranch and the legendary 6666. There's also a strong feeling that 6666 will be where all the surviving characters from Yellowstone eventually cross paths again. Rip, Beth, Walker, Teter. They're not just cameos anymore. They're here for a reason. The tone of the trailer suggests that Texas is about to become the new center of power, a place where everyone comes either to rebuild or to start over. When Rip tells Jimmy, "You've built something worth fighting for," you can feel that brotherly respect, but also a sense of passing the torch. Rip has always been the enforcer, the man who did whatever needed to be done to keep the Dutton name alive. Now, it feels like he's telling Jimmy it's his turn, that this ranch, the 6666, is his Yellowstone now. But not everyone seems to be on the same page. There's a blink and you'll miss it shot of a man in a dark hat standing near the cattle pens, his face hidden by shadow. He's watching Jimmy from a distance, not moving, not speaking, just watching. The atmosphere shifts immediately when he appears. Some fans already believe this could be the new antagonist of the series, someone with a claim to the ranch or a grudge against the people running it. Maybe he's a rival ranch owner, or worse, someone connected to the darker side of the 6666's history. Remember, this ranch has been running since the 1800s. Plenty of room for old sins to resurface. And if there's one thing Sheridan loves, it's digging up ghosts from the past. We also can't ignore the visual tone of this trailer. It's much more cinematic than Yellowstone ever was. The way the camera moves feels slower, heavier, almost like the land itself is breathing. There's dust in the air, sunlight leaking through broken barn doors, and that ever-present sound of distant thunder. It gives everything this haunting, almost spiritual atmosphere. It's as if Sheridan wants to remind us that nature is its own character here. The 6666 isn't just a backdrop, it's alive. And it remembers everything that's happened on it. That's what makes the tension in this trailer feel so real. It's not just about man versus man, it's about man versus land. One particularly powerful moment comes halfway through the trailer. Travis, standing with his horse at sunset, looks over the open plains and says, "We don't own this land, we borrow it." That line echoes themes that go all the way back to 1883, where the early settlers struggled to understand the cost of claiming something that was never really theirs to begin with. In 6666, that theme seems to return. But now it's about legacy. These modern cowboys are fighting to hold on to something that's slipping through their hands, and they know it. The trailer even shows a brief sequence of a corporate-looking group of people arriving at the ranch gates in expensive trucks, wearing suits instead of hats. That's never a good sign in this universe. It's a clear hint that progress, or maybe greed, is about to collide with tradition once again. We also get a few emotional callbacks that hit longtime fans right in the heart. There's a short shot of Jimmy riding across the open plains at dawn, the same way John Dutton once did in the very first episode of Yellowstone. The framing is almost identical, which feels intentional, like a visual passing of the mantle. And then, in another moment, we see Jimmy standing alone in the barn, staring at an old saddle with the Yellowstone Y carved faintly into it. It's quiet, simple, but powerful. You can tell that the past still haunts him, even as he's trying to build something new. That's the beauty of this world Sheridan created. The past never really goes away. It just rides alongside you, whispering reminders of what it cost to get here. But of course, every Yellowstone story has to have a spark, something that lights the fire for everything to come. And from what this trailer shows, 6666 has one of the biggest sparks yet. There's a sequence near the end where the entire ranch seems to be in chaos. Men yelling, horses running wild, and a fire blazing in the distance. You hear Jimmy shout something like, "Get them out of there!" before the sound cuts out and the screen goes black. That's the moment every fan's been replaying over and over. What happened? Is it sabotage, an accident, or something much more personal? If you look closely, right before the fire, there's a brief frame showing the mysterious man in the dark hat again, standing near the stables, watching it all unfold. His face finally becomes visible for a split second, and though the image is blurry, you can tell he's older, weathered, and angry. The look in his eyes says everything. Whoever he is, he's not here for peace. He's here to settle a score, and that's where the tension for episode 1 will likely explode.